Chainsword Diaries is coming to you from Immortals Inc. Studios. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Chainsword Diaries. We've got the whole crew in today. Got a lot on tap for you. We're going to be talking a little bit about old school versus new school players here in the Chainsword Diaries podcast today. And make sure if you get a chance to follow us on Facebook at the Chainsword Diaries, also at the Chainsword on Twitter and Instagram as well. We're at the Chainsword Diaries on Instagram, so make sure to check us out on all those places. Give us a like if you got the time. So let me introduce our merry band of misfits here. We've got myself. I'm TCD Matt, and we've got TCD Jeff. Hey, and I got to tell you guys, we're having a big tiff over branding here on this last one. We're going to go with TCDG because he's threatened us with physical violence.
Yeah. So, hey, guys, I am TCDG. It's a whole lot of letters. So, or just, yeah. You can say hi.
Okay.
Or do I wait? Can we just call each other names? We don't have to say TCD.
No, we're not saying TCD every time. We're just, getting it out there for the people.
I was gonna let him introduce himself.
So yeah, we'll get into that.
Say hi to the people at home.
What's going on? Yeah, what's going on? Greetings.
And our MC will absolutely take the wheel, just like Jesus sometimes.
Every now and again, I need to take over.
How long
That's
we got
right.
in before some sort of hot
Sacrilege.
topic?
Sacrilege.
We already touched religion, and we're waiting for politics now coming up here soon too.
Coming soon.
Coming soon.
We're gonna build this podcast like the wall, baby.
I was gonna
Let's
say
go.
this is 40K. Right. This is 40K. This shouldn't happen.
All
I
right.
thought the emperor was Jesus. You know what?
Gracious.
We're getting off topic.
We are getting
We are
way off
just a
topic.
little bit
off the rails already.
I'm gonna rein it in, and so who we are and what we're doing. That's really what we're talking about here today. So I'm going to give you a little bit of breakdown of myself. Again, TCD Matt, you see me on the stream every Monday where you'll see me in some of the battle reports and hear me on the commentary as well. And myself, I've been playing 40K for almost a decade now. I go back all the way to 5th edition. I've played Chaos mostly, but I also have a deep love for those greenskins.
Heretic.
Well, there's no reason to worship a false emperor. I mean, it says false emperor right
This
in
is
his
another
name.
hot topic.
God,
let me tell you.
here now. Okay. I'm
So-
sorry.
That Grey Knight player has to get the propaganda in before the stream gets going.
I don't apologize to heretics. I cut them off on purpose.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah. So again, I my armies that I play are those two. I've got big love for Noise Marines and the Emperor's Children. And your quiet always offends Slanesh. We got to get that out there. So another thing that I talk about, I'm a quasi tournament player. My claim to fame is came in dead last. That's right. Didn't win a game at the Bay Area Open in 2015. So yeah. If you know me from that, I'm really sorry.
What army were you playing at the time?
I was playing a Chaos army because I was trying to fight the tide of 6th edition.
Hey, well, you got some pretty decent swag for coming in last, right?
Yeah, I did,
Well,
actually.
there you go. So honestly, when you
was
get
the
that
plan.
low, after you lose like 3 games, you'd be like, all right, I'm just going to tank and go for the...
Yeah.
I
when
didn't
you
get
walk away
there
with the
until about
t-shirt.
5 games. Hey, no, actually, I got some really nice swag from... I got LEDs for my... Helldrake, and that worked out pretty well.
So really, what I'm hearing from this was a win.
Exactly. Nothing but winning.
This sounds like a chaos win, right?
Yes.
Like they didn't win anything, but like inside, deep inside, we're still winners.
That's right. That's right. Everybody gets a trophy, G, for Chaos.
Oh man,
Skulls,
Gracious.
trophies for the trophy
now
throne.
too, huh? Is that
That's
it? The
right.
millennials?
That's right.
Yes. Everybody gets a trophy.
That's right.
Yeah.
Again, from a gaming standpoint, I love to have fun. Love to see painted armies on the table. Not much of a painter myself, but I do enjoy
admire it.
celebrating that talent. We've got a lot of really nice looking armies on the stream.
So TCD Jeff, I know we're not gonna say this every time we do this.
TCD Jeff.
Yeah, so you just call me Jeff. Also known as the People's Hero. I will definitely be going by this name. And there's no questions about it. I don't like these looks I'm getting, G.
You can call yourself whatever you want. Whatever you want. Whatever your mom or your loved ones want to call you, go ahead.
Wow, man. Man, I was gonna
Man,
say, it just goes
invoking-
around and around
yeah,
here,
invoking-
man. Look at this, man. We got talking about my mom already. We haven't even been on 10 minutes already. Jeez, man.
Oh man.
Anyway.
I'd like to get mom jokes in there, but first 7 minutes or so, you'll see.
Got to stick to the script.
That's
Mom
right.
jokes before 7 minutes. It says right here on the paper, guys.
Literally,
you know, I must have missed
Jesus,
that.
Trump, mom jokes. You gotta get them in early. Get 'em in early.
Hit the winners.
Oh, goodness gracious.
I'm sorry. So, TCD Jeff. I'll let you continue.
Yeah. Anyway, so been playing now. It's coming up on 4 years. So I got knee deep into 40K around 6th edition. So Matt's probably gonna have a little more references than I do to some older rules, but I definitely do like to reminisce on how the game has changed. Yeah, played 6th, 7th, and now 8th, and my favorite army, and that's why I don't jump too much on the Heretic Loyalist. I play Dark Angels. That's my favorite. So I'm kind of in the middle, kind of in the gray
they're in that
area.
Gray area.
Yeah. I don't want to say we're heretics, but we definitely have done some things that some might question.
They're
So-
for the emperor, but they will piss in your cereal.
They're for the Emperor as long as it meets their agenda.
Right.
That's right.
So, and I understand it, crazy things have happened. This is 40,000 years in the future or whatever, never knows what's going to happen. You got to handle your business. And then I play a couple other armies, play Tau. I'm starting up Mechanicus. I got Harlequins, and I do have some Primaris, but haven't got a chance to run them yet, but I am excited to get them out there.
The Primaris are not joining your Dark Angels?
They are not.
Ooh,
So
okay.
I am of the school of thought that the Dark Angels do their own thing, so they are not going to have Primaris, and they're going to be adamant. Plus, also thought they have more than chapter strength anyway,
Okay.
so I don't really
Ain't
think
nobody
they
got
need
no time for Guillemot G.
All right.
So-
I'll be the only loyal one in the podcast and in the chat.
Hey,
I'm
hey.
okay with that. I am okay.
Hey,
with that.
my Primaris are going to be, loyal, so I don't understand.
I told Matt a long time ago, like, I'm a jerk, but I'm loyal.
he has standards. Oh, goodness.
Okay, so what else do you want to let the fine folks at home know about you? And
I love to goof around. I don't know how to class myself. It's a new edition. I will say I am very middle of the road player. Some on my right here might say I am below average. But yeah, just love to have a good time.
oh, wait, am I on your right?
You are on my right.
Am I? Wait, no. Yeah.
You do usually make
I
fun of me.
agree with that statement.
It's all good fun. I don't
I'm
take
just
any
making
offense.
sure before I blur it out.
Yeah.
You playing bikes in 8th edition? Bikes? What are you bikes? They're awful. No, you never play bikes.
Oh.
G telling me how to play. I love it. So you can go.
I'm G.
No other way to put it.
TCDG. Yeah, I am new to 40K, and I've started playing with 8th edition. And I played other miniature games before, so Axis and Allies and the Star Wars X-Wing. So I'm familiar with
Well, you
tabletop
played Shadow
gaming.
War though too, right?
Well, Blood Bowl got me hooked on Matt. And
Oh, whoa!
That's right.
Am- Am I separating a budding love relationship?
I don't like that you're in between us right now.
Oh, God.
It makes me uncomfortable, I have to say.
And the GW gameplay and everything, and then from there we got into Shadow War. I got into Shadow War, even though I swore I wasn't going to play.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then,
And then
armies,
it was-
I got hooked.
things later, yeah.
and then I got hooked on Armageddon. I only own 3 armies in Armageddon.
Only 3?
Only 3.
Yeah.
But that, and we'll talk about it in later podcasts. But that kind of just slowed down once 8th edition came.
I was gonna say I haven't heard anybody talk about it.
Yeah, and that's when I got really suckered into it, and then I spent a bunch of time reading and listening to other podcasts and stuff about the lore, and I just fell in love with the lore, and then I've been loyal to the Emperor ever since. I mostly I play Grey Knights are my favorite, but I actually play the Inquisition, and I play all the armies that the Inquisition control because they're like the shadow government. That's what I like about them.
I can go
It's
with
not
that.
enough to love the Emperor. You have to torture those who don't.
Like, okay. I mean, we can start the political talk right now. So like I have Death Watch, which are like the Secret Service, Special Police, right?
Yeah.
We have got the Grey Knights, which are like like a specific that's why I like them. And then I have some Templars, and I'm building
Black Templars.
Black Templars, yeah. And then I'm building or painting starting my own chapter of Ultramarines.
You fell to the dark side, like the dark side.
Yeah, it really doesn't get any more loyalist than the Omega Bros.
Well,
I think that's going to be the name of his chapter.
Yeah, the Omega Company, ladies and gentlemen. That's what they're going to
Like, do you even Astartes, bro?
So yeah, and that's so I'm new, but I've already spent way too much money than I wanted to. So
agreed.
and I have some chaos. I got some
that's right, you picked up
Death Guard. I think it'll look good on the channel. They're well painted, and that way, there's a dark side to me. There's there's a loyal side, but then there's that dark side.
That tells you a little bit about all of us and where we're at in our gaming. We run the gamut, not quite all the way old school back to Rogue Trader or anything like that. You're not going to hear us pine for the days of the blessed 3.5 edition of Chaos Codex or anything like that. And generally speaking, overall, we're not talking from the perspective of a hardcore gamer or anything like that. We're really more about really the love of the game. I think if you picked it up on all of our introductions, we all have something that we really, really latch on to and are just enjoy the heck out of playing, because the Chaos models are just so fantastic. Like I was talking about, G's Grey Knights look really good.
Yeah,
and
great painting job.
Man, it makes me ill a little bit to say that, but they're fantastic. We what we're going to be about, what you're going to find here on the Chainsword Diaries is we're one of you. We are fans of the game. We are here to represent the fans' point of view. We're going to give you our open and honest look at everything we do in the game. Things that we love, we're not going to be afraid to tell you that we love. And things that we don't love, we're not going to be afraid to tell you that either.
Pretty much sums it up pretty well.
I think so.
Yeah.
We're all fans for different reasons. And
absolutely.
No matter what army you play, it's for the love of the game. So.
And there will be plenty of trash talking.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of trash talking, what's the next battle report? What's happening next?
So to show down the throwdown, we have the Great Smite Hope, G rocking the Grey Knights against Jeff and the Don't Call Me Darky Angels.
That's right. People's hero returning.
The people's hero.
The people's hero playing the People's Army? No, right? No. Grey Knights.
I don't know if I'd call
honestly,
them the People's
Angels. You're kind of like the Grey Knights are kind of like a myth in the Imperium, to be honest.
Right, they are a fairy tale.
The good thing is after I kill all your they like you're not supposed to know we exist anyway, and after I table you, we'll continue that
Shots
tradition
fired.
that
we better call it. So is that you calling it? You calling it a table?
Are you pointing to it? Are you pointing to the 6 on the dice saying no one left standing?
No one leaves alive.
Wow.
We don't leave anyone
Man.
standing.
Wow.
I feel like there needs to be some side action on this, guys.
We'll see.
I think we need
My
to.
Grey Knights are ready. I have not built the army. I don't know. We haven't said any of that, but that's how confident I feel about how good they are. Ain't no party like a Smite party. Because the Smite party don't stop.
It's tough to handle Smite. I'm gonna have to figure out how I'm gonna be able to deal with this this combo we got going on here. So.
Do you even have librarians?
I do, but
Okay.
it's
Bring them.
Well, that's the thing, though. It's like with 7th edition, with the psychic phase, at least how it was in 7th edition, if you're not playing, if your opponent's playing all psychers, it's literally a waste of points and everything to play psychers yourself, because psychers in 7th edition, you guys probably know how it works. There was a negative you could do to your opponent for taking psychers, where in this edition there isn't, so I don't know.
So you're going to bring all elites and bikes? You're going to bring those bikes out? The little tricycles are coming? That way they can get to my smites faster. I cannot wait.
Gee, they have bells, man.
Yeah.
The bikes have bells.
That's
They
right. They like
can't
ring.
rip on the bikes when
I'm
they
gonna-
have bells.
Okay.
That's right. So I'm not,
Ring.
I'm not sure how the psyker versus psyker dynamic works yet. I'm not too brushed up on that, so it's
All right.
I don't know. I think it might be a waste.
Aggressive action phase. Like it's
Sure.
a free,
It's true.
so that's why I think you just take in. But yeah, I haven't done anything built, but so far, Grey Knights have been doing really well for me in general.
Yeah,
So I feel real confident
Yeah.
against everything, So yeah, so we'll see.
Smites-
That's gonna be YouTube soon, right?
Yeah, it'll be up on
Yeah,
YouTube. Actually, I think that's going to be our premiere
Oh,
for
All right,
Chainsword
platform.
Diaries.
I will not table you because it's our premiere episode.
Ooh.
I don't. I'll leave you with one.
See,
I'll bring
look
you
how
with.
he covers his bases here.
Yeah.
He's
I know.
like, I can table
No.
you, but I'm not going
I'll leave you
so
with.
that when I don't actually get tabled, he'll be okay.
I'll leave you with a character,
Just one?
just one.
Just Azriel standing
Just
there by himself?
Azrael
Well, I wasn't
or-
bringing Azrael, but
Who's the other?
Well, now you
guy?
got to bring Azriel.
Belial.
Belial. That's it.
He's a dead man.
No, he'll live. I want him to witness what the Grey Knights do.
To tell his friends.
Tell his friends.
You know how the mob, like, they'll break your legs,
Yeah.
but they're like, go tell your boss. This is why we do. They leave that one guy alive but hurt. That's it. So we'll leave one wound on him. Tell your people.
Wow, man. See what I got to go through,
Yeah.
man?
I tell you. And then, so I'm gonna throw it out there. I think so. You're bringing Belial. Gee, we all know that Drago's coming to the table.
Drago's not coming.
What?
No.
What? Jeff, you're gonna have to feel his
That-
head. Are you feverish?
No, like,
That's true.
I don't want to
Yeah,
make
we
it
gotta shut
that
down.
easy.
Oh.
So I'll bring Voldus instead.
Okay, so Grandpa's coming.
Grandpa.
Grandpa's coming.
Grandpa's coming. So what do you say,
young
guys?
whippersnappers.
So we're doing 1,500 points, right?
Yeah, let's do that.
1,500 points. Okay.
Let's make this interesting for the people here. Let's put this on the table. Of course, I have nothing in this, so I'm going to be bold enough to put this kind of thing out there. So we got the two heavyweights going after each other with the Dark Angels and the Grey Knights. Why don't we say whoever loses, Voldus or Belial, has to sit out for a month?
Okay, I'm good with that.
So it's whoever loses the game, not who dies or whatever.
No. You lose the game.
Okay.
Somebody's
That
getting
warlord's
captured
out.
for a month.
Yeah, that warlord's out.
All right.
All right.
All right.
You heard it here first. We are the first incarceration of 40K characters in 40K podcast history.
Ooh, there you go.
Yeah.
Write
I
that
like
down.
it. I
Take a
like it.
picture.
Yeah.
Send it to him. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna do. So one of the things that I do for us is the graphics and the video you're watching. So I'm gonna pop in an image right now of Belial in jail, just so the people see what's coming.
Okay.
I tell you, he controls the horizontal, he controls the vertical. It's just awful, people. I tell you. So let's talk a little bit more about versus the old versus new, because that's really what we came to talk about here on the podcast. Is like Jeff said, I come from an edition where we started out where there was huge imbalance in the game. Grey Knights had just dropped at the end of 5th. And on the tournament scene, we were looking at a place where 75% of tournament armies were representing one army.
Was it Grey
It
Knights?
was Grey
heavy?
Knights.
Wow.
Yeah, 75% of it. You had a 75% chance of facing a Grey Knight army when you went to a tournament.
You know what? I think that makes it easier though when you
know
you
your
have that
opponent.
rock
That's true.
you have that rock paper scissors format in games, but if you know like there's going to be a lot of rock, I just have to build to beat that, and then
That's a good point.
I give up a game to Eldar or whatever. I can't beat them, but I know I can beat Knights. I don't know.
It's true.
From the Magic world where I came from in other games like that, we want that kind of format. But
Yeah,
it's
I understand.
different.
Yeah, and with the again, limited tournament experience. I know, Jeff, you've run some tournaments
Yes.
on the local level, and we're going to be running some Chainsword Diary tournaments here coming
yeah.
up.
They're coming.
Oh yeah.
So we'll let you
Trash
guys know
talking
about
is a
that.
must. Trash talking is a must.
Cannot come without bringing the heat. So
right.
no, but in the 40K world, the problem is anything that's at least going back to the old edition. Some of the problems were anything that was built to beat Grey Knights had 2 or 3 holes. So if there was anybody playing, and the other thing is with Magic games are over in 15 minutes to a half hour. Where you're talking 2.5 hours, and you lose a game in this and in a 40K tournament, and odds are you're not coming back to win the tourney.
Well, in Magic, you have, I guess so, because you have 50 minutes to an hour to do best out of 3. So,
Right.
But just in general, the meta game, like,
Yep.
I guess was it that bad where if you didn't play Grey Knights, you couldn't build an army to beat them. Then like, that
there were
surprises me.
There were armies that could beat them, but
That's all they could do. Right?
that's all they could do is beat Grey Knights. So if you faced any kind of other matchup, you lost, and you never got the chance to beat the Grey Knight that you needed to beat. So unless you pulled the perfect stream, and not really to get too much into the 5th, because we're talking quite a ways ago, but it was just a different. I wanted to point that out as a contrast to what we got going on in 8th, and what I'm seeing.
The 5th was pre-Maelstrom and all that stuff, so it was different.
Right.
It was almost like you had to. It was more like kill.
Right.
Table kind of stuff. So like armies that are really good at killing stuff, which Grey Knights still are now with all the smite and things like that. It was kind of one-sided towards that.
Absolutely.
So like now in this edition, I mean 7th too, obviously with Maelstrom and stuff like that. It's not, you can win by not totally wiping out your opponent or being like that kill-all army.
Playing to the mission.
Right, exactly. So playing the mission is actually a big deal now. So you can actually not be like a super competitive list kill-wise or offensively, but as long as you can hold objectives and get the victory points at the right time, you can actually be okay.
And I really, really like that about 8th edition. This is the first edition. So as a Chaos and Orcs player, I've spent 2 editions kind of lounging around at the bottom of the barrel.
I was going to say, that's like the worst 2 picks.
I know.
If you had to pick any armies, those are the worst 2 ones to pick for the last 2 editions.
Yeah, I tell you, Mama said I'm not a smart man. So, no, it's...
Your armies were the Cleveland Browns and the Cincinnati Bengals for a long time.
I'm going to have to say it was the Browns and the Clippers.
That's where the success.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. You
I got
got Magnus the end of last edition.
I got Helldrakes for a little while there.
Yeah,
it was all
okay.
good.
All right.
No.
Carson Palmer, Helldrakes.
Yeah.
Right.
Same thing. A little flame on top and everybody goes crazy.
I think this is the first time you're ever going to hear a comparison of Carson Palmer to a Helldrake.
That's 2 instances of 40K history in one podcast. I don't really know where you're going to find that anywhere else. So, one of the things that's so great to me about this edition is in our local meta, obviously not in tournaments. Tournaments are going to be geared towards what is the absolute optimal best of the best. But what we're seeing in our local meta is we've got a wide variance of armies. I think on Mondays we've seen... really, the only thing that we haven't seen you're working on now with the Adeptus Mechanicus army. But
I already brought Harlequins. So.
Yeah, so we've seen Tau, we've seen Dark Eldar, Chaos, both from the Space Marine and Demon side.
We've seen Necrons.
Necrons, absolutely. I've played Orcs as well.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, so actually, it wasn't just me playing Orcs. We had a couple people in playing Orcs a couple weeks ago.
Right,
so
sweet.
it's been really across the board. So real quick, G, what army do you love to play against?
I like. So when I play
One
my
that's
Grey
easy to
Knights, when I play my Grey Knights, demons are a walk in the park. Like Chaos is a walk apart if they bring demons. But because that's so easy, I don't know. I like facing against Tyranids. Those are fun because they do a lot of murder, and I think Tau's very good. I like the way Tau plays, and to me it feels like it's more of a strategic. Like the movement phase is more important with Tau, and then going straight to shooting. That I like that because I am no longer on the offensive. I don't get the deep strike, and I can't gate and stuff like that because I'll be penalized for that. So I like that challenge. So maybe Tau might be my favorite. So except when I play Death Watch because I love them and they just murder Tau. So no, that ammo that and the Xeno blade that makes you reroll saves is
That's true. I haven't faced it yet, so I can't tell you.
One day soon.
It's coming.
All right.
So again, moving along, some other things that we're talking about. Jeff, you've had some experience with 6th, 7th, and 8th, and you said one of the things you really enjoy is the transition of where we've come from to where we are now. And really, what do you think is the biggest improvement from the last edition to this one?
Formations being gone. Because so I get it, it's cool like last edition, it was cool, like unique ways to field armies, and you get special rules for all that.
Unless you're chaos.
Unless you're chaos, and then you get it at like the last day of the edition, and then we change editions. But like it just, the formations had no balance whatsoever. There was no, like, you could spend, there was no point cost attached, so it was just whatever units were inside, and you could spend 2,000 points on a formation, and you get like one special rule that did nothing, whereas another army gets units, a couple units, and they get all these rules.
So wait, if you don't mind me interrupting, formation. Every army had a different formation. It's not like the way
No,
it's
so
set up
no.
now.
Yeah.
So like there used to be
Like the
formations
battalion.
and detachments. Those are detachments where you
Okay.
fill slots. I like that method personally. I think that's the only way it should be, and that's the way it is right
But
now. And I
seventh,
like it.
it was.
Seventh, you had both options. You could do formations, which is it lists out specific faction units you take. So like there's the Battle Demi Company for the Space Marines, which was 3 tactical squads, a captain. You could take, like, you had options to take. You could take a squad of bikes, or you could take a dreadnought, or you could take this, you could take that. But as long as you filled the required things of those specific units, you would get special rules for all of those units. And there was no points cost. It was just basically, I can take this and get special rules, free rules basically, for no points cost.
Okay.
Not just free rules. They were handing out rhinos like it was.
Oh,
Oprah.
yeah, you also
So you got free rhinos.
You could get free transports for the
Nice.
Space Marines.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was completely out of hand. So I really like it now.
Was it like every?
completely
Okay. Now I
unbalanced.
know I'm talking to like chaos, whatever, but
I'm not chaos,
is
but okay.
it's Dark Angel? So, is it? Is a
Propaganda is
complaint?
strong.
Is a complaint because the Space Marines got free rhinos?
no, it was across
or
the
like
board.
the Tau get something awesome,
Right,
or
yeah,
this guy's got something
well,
awesome in it, but
it was
not
a-
everybody.
Not
does.
So-
everybody got something awesome.
And
It
that's
was
really what
different
it came
factions.
down to.
Okay.
Is so coming from 7th edition, you had really, there were 3 armies that were sitting on top of everything else, and nothing was in their tier. You had Eldar with their psychic shenanigans. You had Chaos
Jet bikes.
and their jet bikes as well. They're just unquestioned mobility, and you couldn't take them off the table. You had Chaos and the summoning engine and the rerollable invulnerable
Oh, demons,
saves.
you mean, not chaos.
Yeah, demons. Chaos demons, not
Chaos
Space Marines.
Demons.
Who GW is just forgotten until this edition. So I bitterness for the bitterness god.
Yeah.
So and then you had Space Marines, which got free everything.
Now,
Okay.
it normally wasn't. I didn't really see too many Space Marines, at least last edition, win tournaments.
There
It was mostly Eldar, like a combination of Eldar and Tau, and then a lot of demons too. Were normally near the top.
Right.
All right, so formations is they're gone.
They're
now.
gone. I
Gone.
really like the
Just
fact that those are gone, and it's
detachments.
just detachments, because that's what
Okay.
I think it should always have
But
been. before
formations
it
don't even sound that bad because the
Oh,
guys
no,
who
no.
got the broken ones weren't winning.
came.
Okay.
Yeah. So like that's my
Okay.
thing, and like a lot of armies were left off without formations, so they didn't actually have
Okay.
access to anything.
So it's automatically broken if not everybody has one. That makes sense. That
Yeah,
makes sense. Okay.
and then also in the varying degrees of how they were structured, because there was really no structure to formations other than like basically GW could say, I want it to be these 3 units, whatever. There's no points cost.
Okay.
There's no limit. I don't want to say there's no limit, but like it wasn't restricted to,
Okay.
it can only be troops choices or whatever. Like I really like the detachment method because everybody has access to it. And it's pretty fair across the board. Like, okay, you get that, I get that. Now, you could argue about things being troop unlocks and what's a troop, what's not, this should really be a heavy support or not. But that's a different conversation rather than
That may change.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
They can
Yeah.
always adjust that. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
so.
Then Matt, what's your compared? So that was really the look at 7th versus 8. Like what? But you were playing in the earlier stuff. So what do you like now that is happening now in this game that wasn't before?
You know, the things that I really, really enjoy now about this edition is just the streamlining of the rules. I cannot tell you, not from so much a tournament standpoint, and I know that there were these issues as well, but even just playing with my friends, because there were so many weird interactions with rules, we would end up spending a half hour trying to figure out how something worked. It was almost like when, G is a Magic player, not to go too far out of the realm, but there was a point when they switched how interrupts work. And they basically got rid of a whole class of spell, and everything that came after that for a good solid year was nothing but confusion as far as what interacted when and how everything worked out
Okay.
until everybody got familiar with it. And and there were so many interactions with different rule books, and there were so many different sources for information, where I may be playing a single army out of 4 or 5 books.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
And it was madness. And it's, even especially as a chaos player, where we didn't get a new codex, they just tried to slap
supplements.
they just tried to slap a band-aid on it over and over again. So you may end up playing at one point. I played in a game out of 5 books.
Wow. So when in the past, when a codex or a supplement came out, it didn't supersede the old stuff and say, "Hey, these are the new rules." It just was like, play this with the stuff. You
normally
have?
it was like replace everything, but then they released these things called supplements, which tacked on, like, they would have special formations for a faction, or they have like a special set of warlord traits for one faction or something in this supplement, or they have special rules for maybe a couple relics or a couple special issue war gear, but you'd have to layer it over the original codex. So, like, for the Chaos Space Marines, they had the Chaos Space Marines codex, and then they had Traitor Legions, right?
Right.
So Traitor Legions had like special formations for each of the legions. They had special war gear or whatever, but you need both books, because you can't just play out of the Traitor Legions, because it has no points cost. It has no stat lines, no nothing. It had the stat lines for like the special war gear or the formations or the rules for that, but it didn't have the rules for just the regular units.
Okay.
In addition, there were even some inconsistencies where a supplement would come out and it would change the point cost of a model.
Right.
And it would be the same model effectively, with maybe access to that formation that was in that thing, but it would be 2 points more, or 5 points more, 5 points less, depending on where you were sourcing your model. So it really made for some confusing times.
All right. Well, from the new perspective, I love that the game is just a few pages to learn. It's really quick and easy, and yeah, like, I don't have that negative history or anything. Like,
I don't want to say
I
it's
hear
negative,
the horror
but
stories.
there's horror stories.
Yeah,
sure.
Right,
So,
exactly.
Yeah, I don't have any of that. I like listening to the stories, because there's some crazy ones, and like 4 books to play a game. Like, it's already like a 2-3 hour game, but now we're adding like so much time to that.
Absolutely.
So yeah, and I like that, just one book, you got it, everything. I guess my only complaint would be like that the points for the characters could have been on the same page.
Oh
as
my
the
gosh,
power level.
that's probably my biggest gripe.
Yeah.
And as a graphic designer, like, it's such an easy thing to solve. Like, it's really simple to do. So like, that's it. Game wise, and like, I think it's really, and if it's not perfect, it's getting there. Because GW is like right on it as far as changing
and that's the
New
other
GW
big change.
is
New
fantastic.
GW. Oh,
Fantastic.
So yeah, I can tell you, we've had I've had experiences where I've called into GW customer support and asked them about a rules question and been told, no, we don't answer rules questions. We won't answer rules questions about our own game. Whereas now you can hit them up on Facebook.
I know they have a social media presence, like any sort of presence whatsoever. It's incredible,
and they're funny.
Yeah,
I mean,
they are. Yeah, and they try to be clever and witty.
Yeah,
it's great.
They're engaged, and it's really been exciting to see that level of fan engagement that they really haven't espoused until this edition. And then we already know, that's another thing, that coming from an old. I can't sitting in the dark waiting was going to be coming out, what's coming down the pike. We already know at Christmas time
we're getting chapter
the meta
approved.
is changed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's funny hearing those stories, because like,
So
it doesn't make sense that a company doesn't reach out to its player base and community.
Yeah.
Or a company or game company doesn't reach out to its player base or its own community, its own people, and talk to. And maybe it's just the new, the way social media has taken over. But I just can't imagine, like, you go to a game store and you're like, oh, look, the new thing came out. And, like, you don't hear anything until you visit that store. That's so nuts,
Well, that's how it used to be.
Yeah.
And, like, honestly, now I really think it's awesome that, because, like, before, I'd always look at, in previous editions, I'd look at, like, rumor sites and, like, oh, what's going to be next? Because we didn't have that what's going to be next kind of thing. So you're always looking, like, maybe somebody has a source on something or whatever, somebody's leaking something or whatever. And it's like, 9 times out of 10, that rumor's garbage. Or, you know what I mean? Like, the next faction's, some...
Did you play Fake 7th?
Did I play fake 7th? What?
Did you remember when 7th came out? There was that fake rule set that was released like 6 months before 7th came
I
out.
didn't hear about this.
Yeah, we had a whole PDF. Somebody took the time to construct a rule set. Got the layout, the fonts, everything. It looked like a full rule set from GW. And me and my friends, Jeff says that he lives and breathes 40K. I mainline it. There's no shame in my game.
I was gonna say, you whip
40K.
Out stuff that I've never heard of, or just like now, you just whip out stuff, or like you know all this stuff. I'm like, dude, I thought I was really into it.
The nerdom
just
is
like
strong
a
with this
Slanesh
one.
player to whip out something.
That's right.
We didn't
right.
ask for.
You know you want the bad touch, baby. It's all good.
Oh my gosh! But
It's gotten dark. We're making Jeff blush.
Oh goodness gracious! But I was gonna say, like, GW is now their own rumor mill, and I've said this before. It's like, it's really awesome because you can actually run with that rumor because it's from the company itself. So like, you actually get legitimate information, and like now we're informed consumers. We can actually make a better decision on what we want to buy, and we actually feel better about that decision. So it's really, really awesome to see that now these days.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, my purchasing habits have changed because of it.
Was there not a white dwarf or something that said
There was
coming
actually
in
a white
May,
dwarf.
coming in
Wasn't
Christmas?
it every week or every day? It was every week. It was,
Well, they've switched. I mean, it was monthly for a while, then they went to weekly, and that wasn't. But the thing about it,
But that didn't give you an indication of what was coming
Not
out,
next.
like previews and
nope,
stuff?
not next.
It would give you like the preview for maybe like next week or the week after, but that's it.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
Even if week out was all you were getting.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, it was basically a flyer for what was coming,
Yep.
and the articles that were in there weren't as in depth a preview.
It was. I mean, it was closer to a pamphlet than it was a magazine. So,
Yeah.
The game is at a better place for
for
sure.
sure.
Absolutely.
The company's at a better place. Communication.
Miles ahead.
Oh, man, that's great. I mean, maybe subconsciously those were the things that brought me in, along with the fluff and the way the models looked. Is that like I came in? My only exposure is the new GW and the new 40K. So maybe that's why a lot of players are coming into it. Like they,
Consider
I used to
yourself
make fun
lucky.
of 40K players when
You
I was
did,
a Magic
absolutely.
player.
I
Yeah,
actually do remember you
and
making fun of me one
yeah,
time.
Yeah, no, it's like. But now I'm one of those people that because like Magic, Wizards of the Coast always communicated. They were like right with the community, and it just so. I mean, and it's all in the past, so whatever. And now it's about what they're doing now, and like I love the current GW. To you guys, it's the new GW.
Yeah, I was gonna say, consider yourself lucky.
Yeah. We suffered.
We did.
We suffered.
I appreciate it. But you're chaotic, so you should, right? Oh
No.
But
What?
He always finds a way. He always finds a way to get you.
I love that jab, guys.
I tell you. So, let us know what you think. Check us out on Facebook and reach out to us. We're going to put that up today to reach out with the release of the podcast. We're going to put that up on our page and say, do you like the new GW? What do you like about the new GW? How long have you been playing? Are you a new player that's just joined the game? Are you an old player that's coming back? And what's brought you back?
What brought you back?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Because as I said, we are one of you. You can reach out to us on that Facebook page. Hit us up on Twitter. Get us on Instagram if you got some hot shots of that new army. We love seeing that. Like I said, I live and breathe for this stuff. G's an artist, so he's drawn all sorts of inspiration from the stuff that you guys are sending us already, and we look to see more of that coming in the future. So
Absolutely.
I'll tell you what, guys, this feels like a good place to kind of wrap it up and say thanks for listening. Next Wednesday, we'll be coming at you hot and heavy from the Chainsword Diaries. Doing it the Slaneshi way, baby. G, take us out.
Speaks us for
Hot
1/3.
and heavy, like the.
That's right.
Speaks for 1/3 of the Chainsword.
Literally. So that'll be his like sign off, some Slanesh crap,
Yeah.
chaos. What you give the fans something? You give the folks some Dark
People's
Angel
hero.
thing. Yeah, you're the people's hero, right?
I am the people's hero, and I'd like to say I'll have to think of one then.
Sign-
y'all caught me on the spot with that one. I had the people's.
Damn.
I'm the people's hero, and like I thought I was good with that. So
Too busy heroine to
All right,
worry
so-
about all your
so-
propaganda.
That's it from.
I don't like to speak for the people. I just fight for them.
You just fight for them. That you know what? That was fantastic.
And we're signing off from Immortals Inc. Studio. This is the Chainsword Diaries. Be sure to check us out on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, we have all of your 40K stories.